All right, welcome to another episode of Nard Knows. And of course, I'm your host, Leonard Davis Jr. And today I got a treat. I got the big brother of a former guest, Kenny Lawler, is in the building. And he's the big brother of Kenzel Lawler, former University of Utah cornerback. Now he's at Montana, getting prepared for a great season. But glad to have you on the show. It's a family affair. How you doing, Mr. Lawler?
Oh man, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Nard, it's a pleasure to finally be on the show, man. We've been talking about it for such a long time, so man, I'm glad to make it happen now, man. Thank you for having me.
Man, the pleasure is all mine. And I forgot to mention, you just signed a new contract with the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Yes,
And
sir.
you spent most of your playing days with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. So a lot of things going on, a lot of transition, going from one team to another. But before we turn the page, what are some of the things that it took for you to prepare for this new awakening in your career?
Oh man, one of the biggest thing is family. Family for me. I have a wife, I have a son, and my son is 7. And the biggest thing is getting prepared to have family, have a to transition our family life to out there. When it comes to moving all our furniture out of this house, when it comes to now finding a spot, finding the right neighborhood, um, the schooling, not to mention, also to mention, my son, he's on the autistic spectrum. So when it comes to finding the right school and the right fit for him, that's very important for us.
Mhm.
So that's the biggest thing that is that is on that is going to be a big difference on this journey. It's gonna be hard, man. But like you said, it's a new beginnings. It's a refreshing start. It's a great feeling.
Now, you mentioned it, family, and that's something that I'm big on, and being a father, I have a 9-year-old, soon to be 9-year-old daughter. That's one thing that people don't realize is, when one of your favorite players go from this team to another team, from a standpoint, it's like, oh, I can't wait to see them this season. But behind closed doors, you got to move, you got to find new schools and things like that. Obviously, you have a great support system in your wife. How impactful is having the great partner along this journey? Because a lot of dudes, they don't have, they in the streets, you know what I mean? So, how beneficial is for you, especially you starting a family at 23?
For me, it's the biggest thing. It's been the biggest thing in my maturity and my growth. Uh, just because I have that solid foundation to come back home to, and just not having to worry about certain things like cooking on my own or just scheduling my free time. I already know what I have to come home and do. I'm a father. I'm a husband at the end of the day, and it just keeps me mentally locked in. I have a bigger purpose, a bigger why now, and they help fuel me to just go out there and do everything that I need to do on the football field. So when everything is dialed in and locked in at home, it's just a greater product that I'm able to produce on the field.
You started out at Cal Berkeley in your college years, and then that led to a trickle effect that led you to Canada. During your college years, who were you, and how much different are you now?
Man, it's a lot different. It's night and day, a lot would say, and that's probably one of the greatest compliments um, that I really appreciate. Just because, man, I was a guy. I was outside, man. Um, Me and my wife, we've been together since I was 15, and with that being said, she's stuck with me through the thick and thin. Man, I was a dude. I was a fiery, very competitive dude that I felt like I had something to prove, man. From my upbringing, being raised with man 11 siblings, in Pomona, California, being raised around some of the things that I've seen growing up. Um, it was just I didn't really understand uh, what the end goal was supposed to be and what it looked like and how I was going to get there. And I was always a dude that prided myself on doing it my way. and that's how I'm going to get my foot in the door. And by the grace of God, it worked for a little bit, right? But that's what he does, right? He shows you the potential that you have within yourself, and during the journey, he's going to do certain things to knock you off that and to, really challenge yourself on how to get through that and what it's going to take to transform yourself. And there was a lot of things that ended up knocking me off my path. And it was, you got to, I look at my life and I watch film day to day, on the opposition or how to get better. But now I look at my life as it is film and the things that I do need to get better at, whether it's personal, whether it's in my relationships, whether it's just with anything in life. And that's how I operate now. So, man, the person who I was is definitely not who I am now, and it's due to a number of things. One, the grace of God, but then also my wife, having a son, the things that I've went to and had to overcome, and man, that's just a product of what you see right now. So yeah, man, I was a guy that I say I was a lost soul, a guy that needed some help, some guidance, and through my journey, I found that, and I bought into it, and I learned, and man, yeah, this is it.
And you mentioned it, you touched on faith, and that's something that, I'm big on, Nard Knows is big on. I believe that, football is a vehicle that God can use to steer us towards our purpose. And, just like any sport, it can be used as a vessel and a vehicle to lean us towards our purpose. For you, man, like, when did you know that football was that vehicle to lead you to where you are today off the field?
I knew at a young age. I knew at a young age, man. My dad being a football coach, um, being around football at a very young age, at the earliest I can remember is 3, and then from there, being at 5, strapping on pads for the first time. I knew at a very young age. I was very good. I had a lot of coaching, a lot of structure when it came to football. So that was my outlet. That was my escape from reality, and I loved it, man. And every time I was on the football field, I had full attention onto what had to, be done. How can I get better? And I'd say probably by the age of 7, it was just like, okay, watching NCAA football, college football, and watching professional football. I was just like, man, this is what I want to do, right? But through the course of it, young kid, um, I wasn't understanding what Hall had to go into it, and got lucky definitely throughout the course of my journey. But but yeah, man, I'll say 7 years old, man. It was just a young Kenny Lawler was like, I want to be a football player. I want to be a professional. This is what I want to do for my living, and yeah, I want to be great.
Was there ever a moment where you realized, or a moment that stumped you and put you in a position where you second guess yourself and wonder, is this really the route I want to take?
Yeah, that would probably be I'd have to say my freshman year, my sophomore year of high school, just because during that time I was um, I was very good at football, but my grades weren't right. So I really enjoyed playing basketball as well. So from football season, I'll go right into basketball season. And the first 2 years, my grades weren't good enough to be able to go and play basketball that next semester. And mind you, you only had to have a 2.0, right? But I was just so dialed in. High school, getting a little bit more freedom, having the bus in and out from the city. Sometimes I miss the bus so I could spend the extra more. hours with my
Sleep.
friends. You
Oh,
know what I
okay.
mean? With my friends and just kick it. And now I'm not doing my homework. I'm not prioritizing the things that I really need to be doing. Because I remember too, we had one of the top quarterbacks in the nation at my time. His name was Josh Nunes. He ended up going to Stanford, and he graduated early.
Mhm.
So he ended up leaving his like last semester to go enroll in spring ball. And I was like, that's what I want to do, right?
Mhm.
That's cool. Like,
Mhm.
like that's what you do as a top recruit. And that's what I'm trying to get to, right? Man, if I wanted to do that, I would have been in my books. I would
Mhm.
have been studying. I would have been trying to take more credits now so that by the time that happens, I could do it. But no, I was outside. I was in the streets. And, I ended up having like a 1.7
Mhm.
my first year. Couldn't play basketball.
Mhm.
Telling my parents I'm at basketball practice and, they don't really know what's going on. And my dad called me one day, like when I should have been at basketball practice. I'm like, oh, damn, my dad calling me. And, um, he was just like, yo, what's up, man? I heard you got no grades and you can't play basketball, but you've been telling everybody you at basketball practice, you know, um, what's going on? Like,
Dad
what are
was
you
on
doing?
you.
You know what I mean? So like for at that time, school was very hard for me. I didn't really understand a lot of things that had to go into it. So I knew if I didn't have grades, I wasn't going to be able to continue to play football. So it was like, do I try a little bit harder in school or do I just, you know, give up on football?
Mhm.
So yeah, during that time, definitely had to do some thinking.
I feel like your dad played a pivotal role, not just in your career, but obviously all your siblings, but talking to your little brother Kenzel as well, he definitely gave a lot of credit to your dad, and in a lot of ways, the foundation on which we come from really catapults our career, our life, and builds a foundation for where we're gonna go. And I necessarily didn't have my dad in my life to where it would have impacted me on the field, but it does play a role. What was that role like for your dad, to be there and to be on you, especially in those trying times?
Yeah, no, my dad played a significant role. One that at the time, I didn't know how big of a role he had
Mhm.
was playing. And my dad was a guy that was not in the household, but was definitely in our lives, especially when it came to football. I started by saying my dad had great structure when it came to football, and if I know for me, if it wasn't for my pops, I wouldn't be playing football. So dad was very very key when it came to that because he knew what classes I need to be taking. He was on me for that, and when I started messing up, it was just like, all right, like you messed up. You don't got it. You
Mhm.
need me, right?
Mhm.
And at the time, like me and my dad are real close right now, but in the beginning, it wasn't like that. I had resentment from my pops for leaving my mom,
Mhm.
and I felt like he did my mom dirty, and we were struggling, and I felt like if we had pop in the picture a little bit more,
Mhm.
um, we'll be better. I get to see you a little bit more. You don't just get to come in my life and see me when I, want
Mhm.
to go over here and kick it with my homies, right?
Mhm.
Like, but my dad was a dude that always fought for that. It was just like, I understand you don't want to come, but you're gonna come. And then when you did come over there, we're doing football, which was a big key in my life that helped keep me out the streets and gave me a motivation, gave me a passion. Because if I didn't have that right there, that structure that ended up turning into a love, I wouldn't be where I was to this day. So Pops was just one of the keyest roles. But I'm a football player, and everyone sees that. And my Pops being who he is as a coach, always is you know seen as that key person. But the keyest person was always my mom, man. My mom, doing the things that she had to do, the jobs that she had to work. Um, me growing up with my mom and seeing that every day, it was just, the thing that the trait that was instilled with me was just, through what I seen her have to do every day. And we didn't have much, but she always provided some way and somehow. And man, it's big shout out to mom because now I understand the person who I have to be. I see what my mom did as jobs and occupations throughout my years when she had to work multiple, and it was always something where she's putting herself last, right? And that's how I kind of go about life now. Is I care for my teammates. I care for my kids that I coach. And that, now that I'm in the position, I have to be someone to help pave the way for someone and be a resource to anyone who needs it. And, you know, yeah, big shout out to mom, man. Big shout out to mom. Big shout out to Pops because, even though I didn't have him as much as I wanted him,
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful for even having, my Pops. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, man.
Yeah, no, and it's something about when you're in that predicament, because I totally agree and I totally understand, and I have lived that. And one thing that I learned was even though I may not have had the time that I wanted with my father, um, I fought to have a relationship with him because I knew the benefits of it. And even as I grew older, I understood even more so what I was doing then out of just the knowledge that I did know at the time as a young man. Now that I'm much, older now, I realized the mental health aspect of it and how much more successful you can be when you don't have that negative energy from your childhood or that trauma from your childhood. Like it's our responsibility, as when we get to a certain age to heal from that. And so I totally understand where you're coming from that perspective, man.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing, man, when you get to it and you get to understand it. It's just, it plays so big into your self growth. And, and, man, yeah, no, where I'm at right now is just like not where I was, but now where I'm going. It's just a beautiful vision. It's a beautiful sight. So, man, yeah.
But we talk so much about life, and I love that. We didn't even talk about being on the field, man. Your time with the Blue Bombers, man. What were some of your favorite plays, your favorite moments?
Man, my favorite moments always is there's so many on the field, but winning Grey Cups. Winning Grey Cups, man. The guys that we did it with, the bonds that we have, the relationships that I've made for that's gonna last me a lifetime. Those are the things, man. There's to be honest, I don't really remember the plays. Like, there was a lot of things that had to be done. And we got to the end and, I just remember, sometimes it not going our way, and being on like, a losing streak and overcoming adversity and like the laughs that we had in the locker room and the things that we did at events and when we were hanging out. Those are the things that I remember. The one-handed catches and the touchdowns is cool, but man, the biggest thing is that I'm always going to take away from Winnipeg is the relationships and the bonds and the love that was here, not just with the teammates though, with the city.
Now, I'm a former wide receiver, but once you're a wide receiver, always a wide receiver. What do you love about the position so much?
What I love about the position so much is that there's so much you have to do in order to get a target, right? You have to look open, but in order to look open, right, the technique that you have from the line from the start of the play to understanding what the defense is trying to do now to understand now what technique and what tool I have to use for that situation in all a matter of 20
Second.
seconds,
Mhm.
like from the pre-snap to now the hike of the ball, and then if they switch it up mid-play, If they switch it up mid play, it's like, and if they switch it up mid play, it's just like, I got to do something else. And it's a beautiful thing. It's art. And, to be able to do all of that is one of the hardest positions on the game. And to be really good at it is just like, you gotta fine tune your craft, and you got to be able to have, these certain things in your game to be able to flourish.
Mhm.
And it takes a lot of work. So, I love the work, that you got to put in to be where I'm at the game.
All right, bro. Well said. Well said. Now, I gotta ask too, because like as a receiver, bro, you don't seem like the type of person to care if it's man, press, bump and run, zone. It don't seem you don't seem like the type to really care as long as you can see what's about to happen before it happened. But we all have that one coverage where if we see it, we know the ball better come to us. What is that for you?
Man all day, man all day. Because if you, as a defense and a defensive coordinator, think this dude in front of me, whether he's off, he better have some help. Because if he doesn't, the ball's coming to me. The ball's coming to me, and I'm gonna make you pay. And they know that. And they know that. They know that. And and I say that, respectfully, because you got to work for that.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
got to work for that, and it's been proven. I'm trying to. I'm always trying to improve it and be better. So, man coverage, bump and run. If you're pressing, I love it. I love when the DB is closer. Now I just don't got to get to you now to get open.
Hmm.
So, yeah, nah, man, cover one.
Was there a big difference, playing in the States and then going over to the CFL? That's one a lot, as you know, a lot of Americans they wonder that, like, is there a big difference? Chad Johnson was one of the main players that we knew, well-known name that went over there and was like, yo, those guys can play, like he thought that he was just gonna walk all over them, but he was like, those guys can play, they make their money too.
Yeah.
Uh, but for you, man, what has been your experience like? Playing ball in Canada.
Man, no, what I tell guys all the time, I got a lot of guys that be like, "Hey, yo, what's up, man? How's it like out there? What's the biggest difference and everything?" I tell the guys at the end of the day, football's football. Like when you get that ball in your hand, you got to make the guy miss. You got to run to the touchdown. There might be 12 guys on the field. The field might be longer. It might be wider. The goalposts might be at the front of the end zones. But at the end of the day, it's still football. Yeah, there is a learning curve that comes into learning the CFL game, because now we got different rules and the nuances of the game. But once you learn those and really understand that I'm still playing football, um, and you're gonna excel. You're gonna see it just that. Because the biggest thing about it, I feel like, is buying in. Coming into the CFL, that's one of the biggest things. You got to be able to buy in to what is up here, because it is so different. And once you buy in and you want to learn, okay, there's a 10-yard motion. But now, as a receiver, if you understand what that 10-yard motion does, it's dangerous. It's deadly, man. So, man, it's not much of a big difference to me now. Um, but yeah, the biggest things that I really say is, like, the 12 man in the motion. Um, that's obviously going to be the biggest thing.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so now, you know, you had a lot of success with the Blue Bombers, and now you're transitioning over to the Tiger Cats. I love that name, Tiger Cats.
Nah, that's fire.
And the colors are pretty dope too. Um,
Woo! I
what
can't wait.
Already, and that's my question. What are you looking forward to most now that you're in Hamilton?
What I'm looking to most is getting around the dudes, right? Getting around the guys and creating those bonds, right? Because me personally, I've been seeing it. I've been seeing where guys had to now come in, understand the rookies, and get those guys, the new free agents, and get them to buy into what we have over here. So my biggest thing that I can't wait for is just to go over there and meet the guys and be able to put in that work with them and let them then know that Kenny Lawler works. He's in the he's in the trenches with y'all. I'm devoted, and I want to come in here and help transition this into back into the winning days. When I got my first two Grey Cups, we played Hamilton. So just like 2 years ago, these were guys that were got a force to be reckoned with. So now, you as the years gone on, and they haven't been as good, those guys have had a great, not a great, but they had a very, very good competitive roster. They came in and gave us a run for our money, Winnipeg Blue Bombers. So now to be a part of that, be added to that bunch of guys, I think we could turn a good team now into a great team. But it's about going in there and putting in the work with one another, and learning one another, get to knowing the guys, and creating the bonds, man. Because when I know I could look at my quarterback and just by his just
Hmm.
body position and shrugging his shoulders, right, and the sound in his cadence. When I know that, and I know, oh, we about to strike up the band, right?
Hmm.
So just I know it's different. I know it's different for guys too on the other side of the ball. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited to get in there, laugh with the guys, work with the guys, grind it out. Be sore with them to figuring out how we gonna get through this next day. That's what camp's about. And man, it's gonna be a beautiful journey with over there at Hamilton.
And now that you're in the process of settling in to be a Tiger Cat, what would you name this chapter of your football life?
Uh, Man, that's a great question. That's a great question. The 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 second coming, like that would be the chapter, that would be the title, the second coming, and
Woo! That got me hyped.
just because I feel like where I'm at with my age, about to be 31 into this going into this next season or in the middle of this next season. Um, a lot of guys could be like, "Oh, he's getting old," right? Oh, I broke my arm, I broke my collarbone, he's getting hurt, right? Um, but a lot of people don't understand how hard I work. I'm not a guy that puts it on Instagram. No problem with that. It's just like when I'm in the gym, I'm just thinking about just football and the weights. And, I'm a guy that puts in a lot of work. And I know once I get on that field, it's gonna show. I always say, as much as you put into ball, you're gonna get out of. And I've been putting so much into this game, man, and I'm still putting it in. I'm putting in the deposits to where it's gonna show, man. It's gonna show in camp. It's gonna show on every practice that we have, and it's now just gonna, we're gonna cash out and we're gonna withdraw on the game days. Like it's gonna be the second comings because a lot of people didn't think, I done fell off. You know, they think that, I don't got it no more. And it's all good. I love that. You know, I love when people sleep on me because I've been slept on a lot of times in my life. And I've always been one to prove someone wrong, and that's my mentality. That's what keeps me going as a competitor. And you know, a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, he's not worth the money," right? We
Mm.
talk about the amount of money that I just got paid,
Mm.
reset the market for the second time in my career.
Woo! Talk
Um,
your talk, brother. Talk
you
your
know,
talk.
a lot of people think I ain't gonna be worth it. Well, I bet I'm gonna prove them wrong, and they know it. If you really do know me, you know how hard I work. You've been around me. You see me on the field. Yeah, they know.
I love that, bro. Love that, man. because it's not just talk. You walk that too, bro. You earned every bit
Appreciate it.
of every
Appreciate
word that you just spit, bro. Uh, and some people may be sleeping on you, bro. But like I said, there's one guy in the league that respect the heck out of you, and that's Austin Mack for the
it.
Montreal
Yeah.
Ultralettes, man. He said you one of the few receivers that he respect, man. So you got guys that respect you for sure that I know.
Nah, man, and it's crazy too, man. It's crazy the amount of love that is around the league, man. Because as my time throughout the league, it's like I didn't understand how much love was in the league, man. I didn't understand, that guys is actually working and it's being recognized, right? I'm coming up here just thinking I'm just in the CFL, right? Right. I'm gonna be out of here in a couple, a year or two, give it that. Like I ain't here to stay. I don't care what people think. So my first 2 years, you couldn't keep my mouth shut when I was on the football field, right?
Mhm.
And now just as I transition in life and become a OG and become a vet, it's like guys ain't talking they mess on the field anymore. Like I ain't gotta do that, right? Just
Mhm.
because like if I do speak to someone, it's more of a respect thing.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm always one to give respect because I know how hard it is to be in this jersey, to be in these shoes, right? So I don't talk stuff no more. I don't talk mess no more. Unless we gonna go there. Don't get it twisted. If we gonna go there, we gonna go there, right? But it takes a lot for me to have to go there just because, I'm a respectful person at the end of the day. But man, nah, man. Austin Mack, he's a fuck. Man, my bad. He's a dog, man. He's a dog. One dude that's just came in and dominated, and his game speaks for itself. He's a guy that's continuing to make a name, and I'm excited to see what he has to do. And now I'm up close and personal in the East too. So
Mhm.
it's gonna be a nice little battle when it comes to the Ticats and it comes to the Alouettes. So don't get it twisted. Now we got one of the best not one of the best. We got the best boundary corner in the game right now, Jamal Peters, and you could say the guy in the back right now, my man Stav, he's one of the best in the league at safety too. So man, we got a great team over there, man. We got a great team over there at Montreal. I'm not Montreal at Hamilton, and they got a good team over there at Montreal. So man, I can't wait to face off with him.
Yeah, that's gonna be epic, man. I'm looking
It
forward to it.
is.
Well, one more question for you, man, because I appreciate you so much for your time, brother.
Oh yeah, no problem.
With all that being said, man, and all that you've learned up until this point, resetting the market, going through adversity, being big bro, and you got little bro following your footsteps, he's going through the things that he's going through, and just all the people that you met up until this point. What would you say is the secret sauce to being successful at football at this level?
Ooh. The secret sauce to being successful, man. The secret sauce is being disciplined. You know, just think for me, thankfully, I was disciplined when I didn't even know what the word discipline meant. I just love doing this. I love the grind, right? I love doing just, we used to do bear crawls, and I want to be the fastest dude to do the bear crawls one at a point in time, you know. I just loved it, right? So the discipline has to be there, right? Because, everyone said motivation, you got to get through, that's going to get you. But if you ain't disciplined, man, you ain't waking up at 5 a.m., man. Motivation, you gonna figure out some motivation to try to sleep in
Hmm.
and try to justify that. But if you're disciplined though, you're gonna get you're gonna get up and you're gonna go put that work in. And you're not gonna try to cut corners. I try to cut corners in so many different areas in my life, but one corner that I wasn't trying to cut was in football.
Hmm.
And that got me to where I am at right now. And man, you got to be a discipline, and to add to that, if I was to say one more thing, you gotta be competitive. You gotta want it, more than the dude in front of you want it. Because if you're not competing, like this from Pete Carroll, if you're not competing, you're not trying,
Hmm.
right? And you, at the end of the day, football is a one-on-one battle,
Hmm.
and I know this dude is trying to take money out of my pocket,
Hmm.
and it go the same way though. But
Hmm.
at the end of the day, is who wanted more. And you got to carry that mentality. There's a chip on your shoulder. It's just mentality. I read a lot of Kobe Bryant. My girl got me, my wife got me a book on my birthday this year, and it was Mama Mentality. And just trying to find an edge. I believe I'm a competitor, but you always could be even more competitive and better at anything you do. So to pair discipline with being a competitor and having that competitive spirit, that right there, you know, is a combination that would be very deadly to help get kids to where they want, just because, if I want to be good, I'm going to be disciplined and want to go out there every day. But the competitiveness is going to keep me wanting to get better because there's always someone out there working harder than you,
Hmm.
you know, you know, And if I was going to go to the trifecta, you got to be a student of the game.
Got to keep learning.
You got to be a student of the game. You always got to be a student, man. I go, all the masters are still trying to learn something, so always got to be a student. I'll end it right there.
Ooh, hey man, I was gonna let you keep going, bro. I was like, what else he got? I'm gonna write this
Nah,
down too.
if you want to know more, get the ebook. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, it's in the link.
It's in the link.
Hey man, well, I just want to thank you so much again for taking the time out, man. At this time, I mean, your life, you got fatherhood, husband, the new team right around the corner, the season right around the corner, man. So I just want to thank you so much for taking the time out. Glad we was able to get it done, and you definitely have a friend and a fan of me, bro. We locked in, bro. I'm gonna be
No,
watching.
we are. No, we
All
are,
the good.
man. Thank you so much, brother. Thank you. This was a pleasure for real to end off the night. Man, feel good, man. I can't wait to see it on the channel. You got a new subscriber, and man, thank you. Much love, brother.